us about your work. What is your line of work? And what joys do you experience in your work? And are there any challenges you face at your work?
My job at the Atlanta Area School for the Deaf, well, for the past 15 years, was a teacher. I worked mostly in the high school. Just very recently, I had a job change. I worked in an office and helped the teachers, responsible for substitute coverage. I've visited colleges and involved in different projects within the school. The thing I like best about this is interaction with the deaf people in this environment. Every day, I meet deaf children and teach them about math or social studies or news around the world.
Do you communicate the same at work and as you do socially?
Okay. I've worked in several different places, and it's interesting to see how communication occurs in the workplace as compared to social situations. It's very different. For example, I used to work at a golf shop. Well, it was really golf maintenance. They took care of the grounds, and my job was to go in the morning and say, what I need to do, and then I would get on the golf cart and go around. I had to work with another guy who could hear and was not deaf. We used gestures to communicate. So when I was driving and I would I use gestures and we'd sign 4 or 5. No, that basically meant hole 4 or hole 5 using gestures to communicate. Or he would say, use this, and went slow down. That kind of gesturing is how we communicated. But when I had to interact with my boss, I had to write it down, and it's interesting with the different bosses I had. Some bosses were very willing to write it down, and others were not, because they didn't have the patience to do that. So it's all over the place. When you have the luck of having the right people in the right place at the right job, it works out beautifully. But I used to work in a public school for 12 years. That school is primarily a public school with 3,000 students. And the only deaf people there were 2 staff members. And there were 20 to 25 deaf students in the entire school. The best way to communicate there was through email. That's how I got a lot of work done. Or using an interpreter. They had 11 interpreters there in that school. That's my positive. I could grab an interpreter and go with me to chat with other staff, and that work things out. If not for the interpreters, I don't see how I could have got my job done. It would have been very isolating. I would have been working in a very limited capacity there. Now here at the Atlanta Area School for the Deaf, wow, communication is really different. I can sign and communicate with almost everybody. There are a few people who don't know how to sign well. They're the ones that we have to really gesture and break it down. But the majority of the people here at the school, I'm finally in the majority. People walk by in the hallway signing, carry on a conversation. Oh, I just need you for a second. And I don't have any restrictions. It's not anybody signing the one sign they know, hello, and then move on. I need to see you at 4. Using gestures, it doesn't happen here. There's a huge difference.